Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel Quaint. Today we are addressing a common myth in breastfeeding. The idea that milk production depends on breast size. And today's video title might sound surprising, but it reflects the real misunderstanding that many mothers and families face. So now you know the topic of discussion, how to increase the milk supply, whether milk production depends on breast sizes or not. Okay, so these are the topic of discussion in today's video, and let's start with how milk is actually produced. Milk is produced in small structures called alveoli, which are specialized glands inside the breast. And two hormones are there. They are responsible for this milk production and release. Not only production but also release, that thing also matters. So prolactin and oxytocin, two hormones are there. These names are known to you, I think. So prolactin, this hormone actually stimulates milk production. Prolactin, this hormone stimulates milk production, and the next hormone, that is oxytocin, this triggers the release of milk. Okay, oxytocin, this hormone triggers the release of milk during feeding, when the baby feeds, okay, during feeding. So these two hormones are responsible for milk production. Actually, this milk production depends on one principle known as a supply and demand principle. Means how milk production works. Okay, this thing depends on that principle known as a supply and demand principle. That means what? Supply and demand principle. If demand is more, then supply is more. Here supply means production. Demand is more means what? If the baby is feeding properly and emptying the breast, two things are there. Not only properly, baby is feeding properly, that is not sufficient. One more thing needs to be added with this. The breast should be emptied. The breasts should be emptied. Okay. If these things are happening, then there will be sufficient amount of milk production inside the breasts. So now you know actually what happens when baby is feeding properly. Okay, then in that case, and emptying the breast, in that case the mother's brain actually sends signals to produce more milk. These things happen. Okay, when the breast is emptied properly, in that case the brain, means mother's brain, sends signals to produce more milk. That's why proper feeding or pumping, in some cases pumping is required, that is known to you. I'll make a separate video to discuss this topic, pumping. Okay, pumping is necessary. Say for example, you are working somewhere in an office, okay, and your baby is not with you. So in such cases, pumping might be necessary. Anyway, doctors are there, gynecologists are there, pediatricians are there, then lactation consultants are there. They are available to guide you properly. What you need to do, whether pumping is necessary for you or not. I have just mentioned one example. Say for example, you are working in an office, so you cannot take your baby with you. In that case, what is the requirement? Because frequent feeding is necessary by the baby. Frequent feeding is necessary. But when you are in the office, in that case, how can you feed your baby if the baby is not with you? In such a case, pumping might be necessary, but whether it is really necessary or not, that thing will be guided by doctors or lactation consultant. Okay, doctors means gynecologists are there, pediatricians are there. Okay. Anyway, so we are talking about what? The breast should be emptied properly by feeding of the babies. Okay. And if feeding is not available, if feeding is not possible, in that case, pumping might be necessary. So next point is whether size matters or not. Larger breasts produce more milk, smaller breasts produce low milk. Is that correct? actually breast size does not depend on the amount of alveoli. I have mentioned in the very beginning that milk is produced in small structures called alveoli. So in alveoli, milk is produced. But in case of larger breasts, that is mostly due to fatty tissues. Okay, if fatty tissue is more inside the breast, in that case, breasts look larger. Means they become larger. Okay, and smaller breast means what? Fatty tissue is less. Amount of fatty tissue is less in case of smaller breasts. Okay, so and one more thing, that is the most important thing, fatty tissues do not produce milk. Only glandular tissues, those things, that means I am talking about those alveoli, okay, those tissues actually produce milk. So in case of a larger breast, fatty tissues are more and they do not produce milk. So if you say, I am not saying that you are saying like that. If you expect that that mother has a larger breast, that means she must or she may produce more milk. That is wrong idea. That is a wrong conception actually. Okay, that is a wrong conception. Because a larger breast means more fatty tissues are there and they do not produce milk. Milk production depends on only glandular tissues, and not only glandular tissues. Glandular tissues are present, but those tissues need to be properly stimulated. When the baby feeds properly, in that case, stimulation occurs properly. If the baby feeds properly, all the babies do not feed properly. Problems are there, and for these things, lactation specialists or lactation consultants are available. They are able to guide you properly. Okay. Anyway, so I was talking about what? That means maybe a woman or a mother, better to say a mother, with larger breasts may struggle to produce more milk. And another woman or another mother with smaller breasts may produce enough milk to feed her baby. Okay, so this might happen. Okay, there is a chance. So many factors are there for which there is a reduction in milk supply or milk production. Means the various points are there for which there is a reduction of milk supply or milk production. First point is infrequent feeding or poor latch. Okay, poor latch or infrequent feeding, this is the most common cause. Other causes are also there for which there is a reduction in milk supply. Okay, other causes are what? Some drugs are there which actually suppress the effect of prolactin, which suppress prolactin. And you know prolactin stimulates milk production. So for those medications, there will be a reduction in milk production. Then stress and fatigue. Stress and fatigue. This reduces what? This reduces oxytocin levels. And you know that oxytocin, this hormone actually triggers what? Release of milk. So in that case, if the woman or the mother she is under stress, okay, means if she is suffering from stress and fatigue, in that case there is a chance that she will produce less milk. Okay, again medical conditions are there such as thyroid issues, hormonal imbalances, or residual placenta inside the uterus. Okay, for this thing also I will make a separate video. If a part of a placenta remains inside the uterus of the mother, in that case, okay, these are the medical conditions for which there may be a reduction in milk production. Okay, so many causes are there, and if you think that, if mothers think that if they consume more protein or if they take proper food, in that case there will be sufficient production of milk, that is not correct actually. these things alone cannot increase the supply of milk. Other things are very important. Means mother should follow some strategies, such as if pumping is necessary, so she must go for pumping. Proper latching of the baby, that is a requirement. Means whether the baby is feeding correctly or not. If required, you need to consult a lactation consultant, means a lactation specialist, if it is needed in that case, okay. And the woman or the mother should be anxiety free. So these are the cases you need to take care of. These are the points means mothers need to take care of. These points, okay. And in spite of practicing all these things, all the necessary things, still if you are facing problem, means if there is a reduction in milk supply, in that case, doctors are available, gynecologists, pediatricians, lactation specialists, they are available. So you must consult those doctors, because babies need to feed properly. If there is a reduction in milk supply, that means babies are suffering. Your baby is suffering. Your baby will suffer if there is a reduction in milk supply. Okay, and that is the most important thing. So in such case, doctors are available. So now you know that we should not expect larger breasts should produce more milk. Okay, we should not expect that way, or we should not say that a smaller breast cannot produce more milk or sufficient milk. Okay, this is completely a wrong idea. And since many people actually expect this thing, that's why this is being called as myth. So if you can understand this thing properly, then this thing will help you bust the myth. Anyway, so this was all about today's topic, today's video. This is the end of this video, and if you found this video informative, so please like and subscribe to our channel. This is the end. Thanks for watching.